about an ongoing threat to officers. It's connected to the suspect in the ambush shooting of a Philadelphia police officer. The tipster says the suspect is part of a larger group of radicals targeting police, and 3 of them specifically are still at large. Our next guest was a senior naval intelligence officer for the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force after the events of 9/11. Steve Rogers, a retired lieutenant detective for the police in Nutley, New Jersey. So this is an interesting tip, and it's the kind of thing that happens all the time. They're checking it out, but this woman walks up to an officer on patrol in Philadelphia and says, hey, that guy who shot your brother officer a couple of nights ago, he's not alone. There are 3 others just like him. In fact, they may be worse.
Well, the local law enforcement, as well as the FBI, and may I add, our national intelligence agencies, are now checking into the credibility of this individual. If, in fact, and I believe it was a woman, is telling the truth, I've got to tell you, we've got a real serious problem on our hands. But we don't know yet, John, and that's what they have to answer. Is it real, what she said? Is it true? Is it, in fact, a terrorist operation?
Supposedly, she said that this Edward Archer, the suspect in the Thursday night shooting, had been radicalized at a mosque in the Philadelphia area. Now, that brings to mind the mosque surveillance program that the New York City Police Department used to have, a thing that was essentially thrown out or dismantled because of political correctness.
Well, this speaks to the issue of getting the cooperation of the leaders of every mosque in this country. I believe that most Muslims are good people. I believe that the leaders of these mosques don't want to see what's going on, but we're going to need their help. When I say we, law enforcement. So there has to be a degree of surveillance with the help of the Muslim community in order to prevent any terrorist activity. Now, we don't know what's being told or spoken of in those mosques, but at least in my mind, there has to be some connection somewhere, if she's telling the truth, between her, perhaps a mosque, people in the mosque, and this terrorist.
Archer, who is 30 years old, his mother says, oh, he'd been hearing voices in his head, you know, suggesting that he was a little daft, and maybe that's why this attack happened. He had gone to Saudi Arabia, you know, the Hajj that every Muslim is supposed to do. He had gone to Saudi Arabia in 2011. 2012, he went to Egypt. This is not your run-of-the-mill guy hearing voices.
Look, my 38 years in law enforcement, everyone I've arrested either fell out of a crib when they were 3 years old or they had some sort of a problem as a child. Fact of the matter is, John, you nailed it. This individual, if there's mental issues, the police will find out. But the traveling to the Mideast, I think, is key to this, and that's what the NSA and federal law enforcement authorities have to look into.
You think he should have been on some kind of a watch list?
Well, you know what? That went through my mind. Why wasn't this individual on a watch list? Why did they have to find out after this woman came forward, or at least after the initial investigation began?
Yeah. All right. We'll see what happens with these 3 others that she says are out there.
You bet.
Stephen Rogers, thank you. Jenna.